it's hard for you to even believe what we're about to tell you. It's hard to believe that what I'm about to tell you just couldn't possibly be true. Has my doctor been lying to me the whole time? No, he hasn't. Your doctor's been educating you and teaching on what he learns from who? The pharmaceutical companies. Not on how to get you healthy. Your doctor has never studied health ever in history, so there's no way they'll keep you healthy. How do we know that? Those of you who saw Time Magazine, this was Time Magazine going to the top hospitals in the country, talking to the best doctors in the country, asking them, what scares you most now about being a doctor? And what did they say? Does anybody know? Being who? Being the patient. Time Magazine interviewing hundreds of doctors. Doctors are all saying now, we would hate to be you in the medical system. Why? Because we can't take care of you anymore. There's only two things we can do for you. Give you drugs, and if that doesn't work, we're going to do surgery. They said, that's it. And then if that doesn't work, we'll send you to the best specialists in the world who will give you a different drug and do a different surgery. That's it. We can't heal you or have anything to do with healing. We're scared to death to ever have to end up in this system. So this week alone, just today, those who saw the news today, U.S. lifespan shorter and shorter and shorter. We are the sickest country. Out of 42 countries, we're the sickest country. It's on the news all day today. Sickest country right now out of 42. None of you in the room could even name 41 other countries. 42, we're 42. We are that sick. Yet they said we are the richest country in the world, the most money, the most doctors. Guess who takes the most cholesterol medications? Guess who has the best cholesterol of anyone? We do. We have the average lowest cholesterol of any other country there is, yet we die of heart disease 10 times faster than anyone else does. We have more doctors and more nurses and more hospitals and more medical testing. Guess what they said? It's not working. It's not working. Because all those tests will show you when? After you're sick. After you're sick. And then all we can do is give you what? Drugs, which we know end up causing more damage to our bodies. And so the number one cause of death in the United States is what right now? Is taking drugs and medications. They said living in a medical model and not taking care of yourself will kill you faster than anything. But this last article, and those of you who got to see Reader's Digest or have been here, they went in and interviewed some of the top hospitals in the country. And they literally said, weekends are very dangerous. Long-term studies released in March showed if you have a heart attack on the weekend, you're more likely to die within a month. If you have a heart attack at night, you're more likely to die within a month. That's if you have heart attacks or go into the hospital at night. So if you're going to have a heart attack, you'd better have it when? During the day, I guess. They'll save your life. Literally, that's what they're saying in here. And we all know that. All of us had to go there any other time but during the day. So literally showing it's the number one place of death right now in the country. So we're telling you not to go there? No, we're telling you let's do whatever we can together to avoid that. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Teaching you how to take care of yourself so you don't end up there. You were created for health. You were created for 120 years. You weren't created for 30 or 40 or 50 years with cancer, heart diseases, and your arteries clogged. You were created for an abundant life, and that's what we're going to show you tonight. So tonight's about literally the 7 steps preventing heart disease. And the first thing we're going to talk about, though, is the devastation of heart disease and the reality of what's really, truly happening. Because, again, I have to wake you up. Right now, 1 out of every 2 people die of heart disease. 25% of children 5 and up already have plaquing in their arteries. 25% of children. This is the first generation of children who will what? Who are going to what? Who are going to die before their parents. This is the first generation of children who will die before their parents. Why? At 5 years old, they have 25% plaquing in their arteries already. 60% of 15 and 19-year-olds had plaque building up in their important coronary artery which supplies the heart. 60%. And a lot of you are like, well, when do you feel a heart attack? Does anyone know? We talked about it in the last talk. If you knew you were going to have a heart attack, then you would have the ambulance waiting for you. You don't know. No one has ever known they were going to have one, and no doctor knows. How many people have you known had a good checkup Monday and had a heart attack 2 weeks later? Because you'll never know. They won't know anything until it's too late. We can't rely on that. Heart disease kills twice as many women as cancer does. And a lot of women in this room are so scared of cancer, you will die faster of heart disease than you ever will of cancer. 79 million Americans have heart disease. We just looked it up. Guess how many million people live in the United States? 300 million. 79 million of them have heart disease already. That's a lot. So now we look at the true statistics. If I had a room of 1,000 people, how many will live to 60 in great health, on no drugs, feeling good? How many? 1. Why? We have 79 million people, Americans with heart disease. Do we have 79 million people 60 and over? No. These are people already 20, 30, 40. 871,000 deaths per year from heart disease compared to cancer's 550,000. 871 deaths. And every year, guess what? Guess what next year is going to be? Do you think it's going to be less? It's more. It's more every year. So it's more. I mean, how much more passionate do I have to be? It's going to be worse next year. The problem is a lot of you have grandchildren, a lot of you have children at home, and guess what the reality is? They're not making it any longer. We know this. So those of you who are older, because I didn't get to see it as much, these children are sicker than ever in history. Even 20 and 30-year-olds are sicker. We did last week alone 3 cancer consultations, and every one of them was under 25. 3. This is the reality of what's happening right now. Children and heart disease, the Journal of American Medical Association study shows heart problems in children as young as 15 years old. Heart problems in children at 15. 60% of the 15 to 19-year-olds had plaquing or streaks in their arteries already. Prevention. In order to prevent heart disease, we have to know what it is, right? You can't prevent it. If I asked everybody here what heart disease was, most of you don't even know what it is. So how can you prevent heart disease or reverse heart disease if you don't even know what it is? How can your children live this incredible life, or you live the life when everyone dies of heart disease almost, or drugs, and you don't even know what it is? Is anyone here, has any doctor done a class with you? Those of you who are having heart problems, has anyone ever done a class, sat you down, and taught you how to prevent heart disease, how to reverse it, how to come off your cholesterol and blood pressure drugs? Has anyone had a class like that? Why haven't they? Because if you came off your drugs, what would happen? You wouldn't die. What would happen to them? They'd lose all their money. So why aren't they teaching you this? Number one is because they don't know how to do this. And so we need to know what this is. So Mythbuster. And this is huge, because we need to go through what you're thinking right now. Heart disease and cancer are normal with aging. How many people just assumed that? Nobody wants to admit it. How many people just assumed it? As we got older, we get heart disease. Truth, heart disease and cancer are common in the United States, but it's not normal. You're not supposed to ever get cancer or heart disease. Ever. It's not supposed to happen to you. Mythbuster. Heart disease is in my family history, so why bother? So how many of you think that it's genetic? That my father had it, my mother had it, my grandfathers had it? That's a huge one. Yeah, it's got to be, right? It's got to be genetics. Trust me, we're going to show you some studies here in a second. It's not genes. That's over and done with. It's been proven wrong. Because guess what? Your genes haven't changed in 5,000 years. And so we come from English